Alrighty, good day everybody. It is now day number 3 of our brand new solo journey on a new official PvP server, and as of today we are officially geared up and ready for battle. Now in case you missed the last 2 days, I'll just go ahead and give you a quick summary of what's happened so far. So on our first day on this server, I just power leveled up to level 60 and that's about it for day 1. Now for day number 2, I basically snowballed my way up to endgame by farming the Curio dungeon for blood crystals, and then I exchanged them for some thralls and some endgame materials. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened, but if you're interested in seeing the entire story, I'll go ahead and link the videos in the description. But anyways, so here we are now on day number 3, and I used the thralls and the materials that I got from the Curio dungeon to gear myself up, and now we're finally ready to start having some fun on this server. So the first thing I want to do now that we're freshly geared is to go around and do a bit of scouting and start mapping the server for bases. And I also want to try and gather a bit of intel and start figuring out the server politics. Let's go ahead and start with this base. Oh, and look at this. This one is actually decayed, and that's good for us. Let's go ahead and get in here. We're going to try and keep an eye out for any decayed goodies we might be able to profit off of as well. I actually stumbled onto a decayed vault earlier today when I got on, and that's how I was able to get these Dagon daggers. So it looks like this place has already been hit, and the owners probably never came back after. So I'll just take a quick look around and see if there's anything left or anything worth it to take with me. I hear a blacksmith in here. Could it be a bladesmith maybe? Nope, just a regular tier 1. You know what, I'm actually gonna take it. It might be a tier 1, but I don't have a blacksmith at all, and this is better than nothing. So I'll go ahead and depot this back at home base, and then we'll get back to our adventure. Alright, and we're back on track, so now let's start making our way towards the jungle and start mapping all of the important bases along the way. Just in case we make some enemies in the future, we already know where they are. Okay, so I just made it to the jungle and I just heard some bombs go off a couple seconds ago. I think I know what place is getting hit. I'm gonna try and investigate it a bit. I think it might be that cave base that's up here in the north jungle that I always like to check. We're gonna try and go right above it so that we're not seen. If we see that it's an entire clan that's raiding, we're just gonna try and stay clear of it, because we don't want to donate this armor just yet. Yep, it's definitely the cave base right underneath here. Let's take a peek down here. Yep, looks like this is the cave base, and that might be like the raid area, I guess. I don't know. Oh, and there's the bombs finally. I'm seeing quite a few players down there. Looks like it's a whole squad. Counting maybe 4 or 5 people. Well, we're gonna keep moving now because we don't want to find ourselves in a fight against that entire clan. Even though by the sounds of those bombs, it can be pretty tempting to want to go down there and see what's happening. Alright, and we're on the ground now. Gonna try and get this obelisk quickly and keep moving. Nice, there we go. Now we're just gonna check all of the trees in this area for any hidden bases. Holy crap, look at this tree base. It's completely covered in anti-climb. This is how I wanted to build my treehouse base when I first started playing Conan. And it looks like they haven't been online in quite a few days. I wonder if someone's already bat raided this base. It looks like a pretty fun base to raid using the bat method. You know what, while we're here, let's actually go on a quick little side quest and go learn some very important recipes for PvP that I still haven't learned. This side quest will require a breathing mask, so we'll go ahead and get one from this camp. And here he is. We'll get our breathing mask from Demos and be on our way. Nice, there we go. Let's get out of here. Now let's go ahead and swim our way to the Sunken city and speedrun our way through it as we learn 3 essential recipes. Alright, here we are, time for the Sunken City. So I've already covered my journey through the Sunken City in a past video, and that's what we're just speedrunning our way through here. Now here we have the first recipe that we need to learn right by the entrance. It's the Lemurian axe. Let's go ahead and learn it. There we go, perfect. And now we'll go ahead and grab the Lemurian trident. We'll just go ahead and run past all these and do my favorite jump in the game. Here we go. This is probably my favorite part about coming to the Sunken City. You know what, actually, since we're here, we might as well get the sword and shield recipe as well. And we'll run past these guys, get the recipe. There we go. And I've actually used this sword before. It's not that bad, but it's just not as good as the Black Ice sword. Now we'll get my favorite weapon, the Lemurian trident. And I always forget where it is. There we go. Now let's get out of here, because thankfully we don't have to fight this creepy guy here. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and grab the daggers of Dagon. We'll go ahead and slow down a bit for this one and actually farm this temple, because this is the temple I usually farm since it has the easiest monsters that give you scales, and it also has the most monsters as well. And a little tip I learned from you guys, you can use the sickle to farm the scales and avoid getting all that putrid meat. So you'll still get a little extra stuff, but at least you won't get as much as if you're using the hatchet or a pick. You can try just doing one swipe and avoiding the second one, and you might be able to avoid the extra stuff just like this. Yeah, it's not always gonna work, but it's still worth a shot because it can be such a pain having to clear out all that putrid meat from using the other tools. Also, can anyone tell me in the comments why in this room I always hear like a thrall fighting? It just always makes me think that there's like another player doing this dungeon. And here in this room, we're just gonna take out the 2 weak ones and we're not gonna bother with the rest because I just don't think it's worth the time and effort since they're so strong. Oh, guess we're just doing one now since that one disappeared. Alright, and now finally, let's just go get the recipe. And I'll show you guys how you can just exit the dungeon without having to defeat this thrall up here. Alright, we got it. Now normally you have to defeat the thrall to be able to exit out of here. And sometimes this dungeon might even be glitched and you can exit out of this door without having to fight the thrall. But in this instance, you can't exit out of here, so all you gotta do is exit out of the server and then reconnect. Boom, just like that, we didn't have to fight those monsters and we're out of the dungeon. We have our scales, we have our recipe, now we're good to go. And now that we're out of the Sunken City, let's go ahead and make our way to the southern obelisk and attune our bracelet. There we go, perfect. And now I'm gonna go look for a map room because there doesn't seem to be one around this obelisk. Then I'm gonna head over to my stash and hide these scales, and then we'll figure out what to do from there. Alrighty guys, so now that we're done with that little side quest, I want to take some time to go to the Curio dungeon and test out a few things. I was reading over the comments in my last video from day number 2, where I farmed the Curio dungeon for blood crystals, and a lot of you guys brought something up to my attention that I actually want to test out for myself. So in that episode, I used a one-handed sword that I purchased from one of the merchants in order to fight the golems, and it was an absolutely long and tedious task to kill all of those golems using that weapon. I remember having to hit those golems so many times just to be able to kill them. Well, as it turns out, according to you guys, golems apparently have a weakness to star metal hammers, and it only takes about 1 to 3 hits to kill them using that weapon. So after finding that out, I want to try it out for myself and see how much easier it is to use a star metal hammer to farm that dungeon. Oh, and in that same video, I also had another viewer tell me about these new pants that are supposed to be the new meta. And you can learn the recipe for these pants in that dungeon. I actually was not able to learn the recipe in the last video because I took too long killing the golems and I wasn't able to complete the dungeon all the way. So aside from testing the star metal hammer, our mission will also be to learn the recipe for Kurik's pants. Sorry, and one more thing, I also brought a thrall with me, and we're gonna see how many levels my thrall will naturally gain from completing the dungeon after the recent update where the dungeon was nerfed for leveling thralls. Alright, here we go. We got quite a few things to do in here. Let's get to it. We're gonna try and speedrun our way through this dungeon and just focus on the things that we're here to do. Man, I actually forgot to bring a torch for this first part. It's not gonna be a very pleasant fight in the dark. Well, actually, not like it matters because all I brought are two-handed weapons with me. So we'll just go ahead and skip this part in the video so that you don't have to suffer like I do. I'll see you guys in a second. There we go, got him, and now we can get to the real test. So the golems are up next, and first I want to see how much damage my thrall does, and then I'll see how much damage I do. Alright, here it comes. Let's see. Okay, that's pretty good damage for my thrall. Let's see how I do. Look at that, in just about 3 to 5 hits and it's dead. That's crazy. Let's go ahead and kill this one. And as you can see, one hit will do about half of its HP. But do keep in mind that this hammer was crafted with a tier 1 blacksmith, so it can probably do way more damage with a tier 4. Wow, look at that. This hammer just crumbles these golems super easy, super quick. A huge difference compared to how long it took me in the previous episode. Well, for this quick and super rush test, it looks like the star metal hammer is a great weapon to fight against the golems. I actually wish I had known about this golem weakness in the last episode because it would have saved me a ton of effort and a ton of time. But thank you so much to all the viewers that let me know about this weakness. It's gonna come in handy in the future if I ever need to do this dungeon again. But anyways, now let's go ahead and get through this next stage so that we can learn the recipe for the Kurik pants. Can't believe that should be the last one. Yep, yes it is. Alright, let's see what's next. Looks like now we gotta fight these two. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we did not have to kill this dragon. I don't think my thrall would have made it. Little advice so you don't mess up like I do and almost get your thrall killed. If you think you're gonna survive the dungeon just fine with no issues, just wait until the end, like right now, to farm the golems. Because I farmed a few in between the fights and it screwed me up a bit. Alright, I think we completed all the phases and now we can go back here and learn the recipe. There we go, perfect. We got the recipe. Now we can defeat Kurik. Boom, there we have it. We'll get some more dragon powder while we're at it. Now the room will slowly get filled with gas, but we're not gonna waste any time. We're just gonna pull the bracelet and be out of here. Now I'm just gonna go back to home base and craft myself those new pants. Alrighty, so here we are. I am about to craft the leggings of Kurik, and for those that don't know, these pants have become quite popular in the PvP world recently since the Chapter 3 update was released. Now I'm noticing here that for these Kurik leggings you will need some layered fur and some blood crystals to be able to craft them. So this recipe will require a few different items than the usual items that you use to craft the common light Silent Legion pants or the Dragonbone pants. And in the meantime, while we wait for the pants to craft, I'll show you how many levels my thrall gained from completing the Kurik dungeon after the recent hotfix that nerfed the leveling in that dungeon. So as you can see, it gained about 6 levels, and it could have probably gained a few more if I killed a few more spiders and a few more golems. Okay, and now let's get back to these pants. They're ready to go. They were crafted using a Scout Right armor thrall, and we'll go ahead and apply the bulk plating to increase its armor value. Now, long story short, what makes these pants really appealing right now in the current meta is that even though its armor value is not the best, it gives you 32 points in stamina. That is what really sells these pants. Alright, and now that we're done with that, I've decided that we are going to go on yet another side quest. So let's start making our way to the Highlands now. I've been procrastinating this long enough, so while we're on the topic of armor, let's just go ahead and get it done. And you know what, while we're passing through here, let's just go ahead and take a little detour and learn the recipe for the memory potion, because I'm getting pretty tired of having to relearn everything after using the yellow lotus potion to reset my attributes.
Hello? Hey, is somebody out there? I hear
Hey, what is this?
Help! Hey, get us out of here! Help! Listen. We're on the other side of the door. We're kind of in a pickle. Could use your help. Think there's some levers out there? A good chance one of them will open the door and we'll be... Could you pull a lever, please? Pull it! Please?
I've never heard this before. And it sounds so legit, like I actually thought they were real players for a sec. What's happening? Oh my goodness. Okay, there's no way this is real. Sounds like it's trolling me. It's probably like the funniest thing I've ever seen on Conan. Man, I can't believe that's the first time I've ever seen that. It actually made my day running into that. Alright, we got the memory potion. Let's keep making our way to the highlands. Look at this base, it's slowly rendering in. Wait, actually it's disappearing instead. Never mind, I just realized that it probably decayed just now. Let's go see if there's any goodies up here. Maybe a bladesmith. Nope, no bladesmith, just a ton of horse poop. Alrighty, and we have finally made it to our destination, and now we can get started with our side quest, which will be to learn the recipes for the Silent Legion armor. I've been procrastinating doing this because the Black Keep dungeon where you learn the recipe, it can be such a confusing maze, but we're finally gonna get to it. We'll go ahead and grab this while we're at it, and I think now all that we have left is the obelisk at the volcano. And here we are, the Black Keep dungeon, and as per usual, let's just speedrun our way through this place. Let's go. Alright, and here we are, we made it. Let's just get this tablet and get out of here. I think someone may have been here recently because there were a lot of dead skeletons and there was no final boss here, which I'm pretty happy about because it meant there were no enemies at all to deal with. Alright, we got the recipe. Now I'm gonna head back to base and craft myself a Silent Legion helmet and some Silent Legion boots. I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, and we're back at home base, and I crafted myself a Silent Legion helmet. And as you can see, the helmet I was originally wearing, the Dragonhide helmet, it gives you 28 points in health, and the Silent Legion gives you 48. Both helmets have the same armor value, so Silent Legion helmet is an improvement overall. And that's why we took some time right now to learn this recipe. Now, as for the boots, I normally go with the Dragonhide boots, which give you 28 points in health, but I'm gonna switch over to the Silent Legion boots, which gives you 12 points in stamina, and that goes well together with the Kurik leggings, which also gives you stamina. So I'm gonna try this stamina focus build and see how I like it compared to what I normally use for PvP. Alright, and now that we're set for PvP, we're gonna do a bit of roaming, and hopefully we'll run into someone that will want to fight us. And while we go around looking for some PvP, we're also going to try and stay productive by completing a few other side quests that will benefit us. I don't know if it's just like a mental thing for me, but I feel like when I wear the Silent Legion boots, my character feels a lot slower. Like it feels like I'm wearing medium boots, but I know that's probably just in my head. But that's actually the main reason why I always go with Dragonhide. It just feels like my character moves a little quicker. Let's take a look around here at Sinkhole and see if anyone's around that we can fight. Don't really see anyone, but since we're here, let's go ahead and grab some demon blood from one of these dogs, and we're gonna go on a little side quest. I want to go to the Barrel King dungeon and get the recipe for the Kingslayer polearm so that we can craft one and fuse it with one of our spears and extend its reach. Nice, there we go. We got our demon blood. Now we can enter the dungeon. So let's start heading over to the Mounds of the Dead. Let's check this place out up here. Oh, that's pretty cool. We got this tavern looking thing. It's nice. Got these little houses here. It's kind of like a little village here at the Mounds. It's pretty cool. Now let's just go grab this recipe real quick. This one's probably the easiest one to get. You just need 1 demon blood to get in here. You don't even need to fight the boss. You just get in here, click the tablet, and then walk out of here. Currently, I don't really have any plans to farm for a bladesmith or a shield ride, since I've already been through that hell in the previous series. But I am gonna check here and see if any have spawned in. Like, if I run into one, I'll capture it, of course, but I don't plan to actively farm for one for like 6 hours straight like I did before. And we got a tier 3, tier 2. I believe there's one more right over here. And a tier 2. Alright, nothing here. Let's get out of here. Let's just take a quick peek at this base and see what we got here. We got a few benches and a few thralls in here. Oh, and there he is. Let's go ahead and say hello. I think his rhino's getting killed by one of the thralls. Let's help him out. There we go, he's good. Wow, check this out. Look at this golem without arms. Looks surprisingly cool without him. Well, I don't think this player is going to want to fight us, so let's head over to the volcano now and pick up some ash so that we can make a ton of memory potions, and we're also going to attune our bracelet there. And I believe that should be the final obelisk that we need. Okay, and here we are. Let's get some ash and get that obelisk. And since we're already here, we might as well squeeze in a little bit of scouting and see if we can find any hidden bases within the volcano. This spot right here has quite a few nodes, really good to get some ash. Alrighty, and I think that should be enough. We got 420. Now let's start making our way to that obelisk and attune our bracelet for the last time. Oh, we got a tier 4, but I don't really need this one. Just go ahead and leave it. Actually, I have a quick little story that I just remembered. When I first started playing Conan, I came to the volcano for the first time, and I saw this straw, and because of its name, I thought that it was a tier 4, and I went through all this trouble to capture it, thinking that I got lucky, and as it turns out, it was just a plain regular thrall. But yeah, that's my short little story. Let me know in the comments if you've also thought that was a tier 4 at one point. And look at that, another tier 4, an archer. Don't really care for it though, so we'll leave it. Nice, and there we have it. We have officially obtained all of the obelisk locations on this new server, and now we're free to go anywhere. So what do you say now? We start heading back to base, and then we'll figure out what to do from there. Alrighty, just dropped off the ash back at our home base, and now we're off to do yet another side quest. So I mentioned it earlier, but I don't have a bladesmith yet on this server, and I don't have any current plans to go farming for one. I'm just kind of hoping that I'll randomly stumble into one, or that I'll get one from a raid at one point. So that means that unfortunately for us, in the meantime, we're not going to have the best possible crafted weapons. But thankfully though, there's still a few ways for us to increase our firepower even though we don't have the best weapons. So our next side quest is going to be to increase our firepower, and I'll bring you guys along so that in case you don't know how, you'll learn a few ways to power yourself up when you're lacking a bladesmith. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to come to the summoning place, and we're going to run past all of these thralls. And once we get up here, we're going to click this piece of paper on the ground, and this is going to teach you the recipe to make some salted pork. And the reason we want to learn salted pork is because it is a super cheap food to cook that's going to grant you some extra strength, and that's exactly what we need. So now let's head over to the mounds and we're gonna go farm some raw pork, which is one of the ingredients that we need to be able to cook it. Oh, look at that. Looks like this is a good time to get some star metal. But we're good on that right now. We'll go ahead and farm these boars right over here. Don't really need too much since I don't expect my base where I'm gonna have my fridge to last very long. If you need a good area to farm for this recipe, this area right here is the perfect spot. There's a ton of boars and no one's ever really around. Right, and we're back at home base and ready to do some cooking. So we got the recipe unlocked, and then all you need is some salt, which you can get from putting some stones in a grinder, and some raw pork, and that's it. That's literally all you need to be able to cook this super beneficial food. Always forget to put some fuel on the stove. Perfect, and there it is, and then you just eat it and you get yourself an easy 15% increase in strength weapon damage. And we're not done just yet. There's still another buff that you can stack on top of the salted pork, and that's the Black Lotus potion, which is another easy buff that you can craft yourself to gain some additional strength. And this one only requires some alchemical base, which is really easy to get now with all the sorcery events. Then you need some Black Lotus powder, which I'll show you how you can get a ton of right now. So let's go ahead and make our way to the southern obelisk in the jungle. So for me personally, I prefer the Black Lotus potion over the Elixir of Might because it can be such a pain to get Grey Lotus powder for the Elixir of Might. And I guess if you have a Grey Lotus farm, it's not so bad. But why bother with that when you can make some Black Lotus potion? It's so much easier and all you gotta deal with is being tipsy for a minute. Oh, looks like someone's been around recently. Okay, so we just hit the jackpot and found a loaded chest with steel reinforcements, and I'm trying to find a good spot to stash this so I can go back to base and switch over to an encumbrance build and pick this up. Okay, this is good enough. I don't think anyone's gonna find me here in the next 10 minutes. But look at all this steel reinforcement. It's more than I could ever use. Alright, I'm gonna go respec. I'll be back. Hopefully nobody finds us. Okay, here we are. Our loot is still here. Perfect. I'm gonna play it risky and I'm gonna leave the steel reinforcement here, and I'm gonna go quickly farm the Black Lotus flower. I know it's a bit risky leaving that behind for now, but you know, we're already here. We might as well do it all in one trip. Alrighty, and this is the place that you want to come to get yourself a ton of Black Lotus flower. You can see this place is a bit toxic, but you should be okay even without a mask. Okay, I think we have enough, and if you want to come here yourself, here's the location. Oh, and in that quick 1-minute farm run, we managed to get over 1,000 Black Lotus flower. And see, this is way easier than having to farm Grey Lotus flower instead for the Elixir of Might. But anyways, now that we got what we came here for, I'm gonna go pick up our steel reinforcements, and I'll see you guys back at home base. Alrighty, and we made it back safe and sound. The loot is secured, and now we can get back to making our Black Lotus potion. So just put in your alchemical base and some Black Lotus powder, which you can get from grinding the Black Lotus flower. Then there you have it. You can now mass produce this super cheap strength buff. Okay, now let's go ahead and consume the Black Lotus potion. And you'll get tipsy for like a minute or so. It's no big deal, it goes away. But most importantly, it gives you that 15% increase in strength weapon damage. Now put it together with the salted pork and we get an additional 15% increase in strength weapon damage. And yeah, it stacks very nicely, and even though we don't have a bladesmith, with these two buffs combined, we're going to be able to hit our enemies pretty decently. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it out of this.